Welcome, everybody, to the Pure Vita podcast. I'm so happy to be here with you all. I am very happy to start this podcast, and I'm really happy to kick it off with our guest today, which I'll introduce her in a moment. But I just want to mention that today's podcast is all about how to support human trafficking survivors and specifically how to use yoga and sound healing and trauma-informed yoga practices to help survivors and how these practices can help. So I'm very excited for this podcast. It's so good to raise awareness about this topic, and I am very passionate to help out and do that. So let me introduce our guest. She knows way more about it than I do. Our guest is Amy Legess, and she works for Reach. Hello, Amy.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, whatever time it
Yeah,
is.
whatever time it might be.
So, Amy, tell us a little bit about yourself
Sure.
first.
Sure. Hi, everybody. As Erica said, my name is Amy Legess, and I work at the Human Trafficking and Social Justice Institute at the University of Toledo. I'm their director of programming. And then I'm also currently finishing up my stint, if you would, as the chair of Northern Ohio Reach, which is the local anti-human trafficking coalition in Northwest Ohio. So thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be your first guest.
Yes, I'm so happy that you're here. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you about this. So it's so important, as I said in the beginning, and I just like to reiterate it. So how did you get into this work? Like, what kind of led you down this path to help human trafficking survivors?
I have to be really honest. I did not know any human trafficking survivors when I started this work. I do now. I've been in this field 11 years. But I started because a good friend of mine had a job opening with the local anti-human trafficking coalition. And she said, Amy, you have done grant work your whole life. We received a grant and we need someone to do the work. And I said, well, that's great, except I don't know anything about human trafficking. And she said, well, we can teach you that, but I want you, we need somebody who can get this off the ground. So, I take that as a challenge. I'm just going to be honest, that it was like, okay, you're going to hand me something and let me build it. Thank you so much. So I did serve in that role for about 6 years, and it was a statewide grant. So I made friends all across Ohio, which is very helpful when you're trying to build coalitions and make sure that everyone is doing similar work and doing outreach in our local community and awareness. So it kind of all started as, hey, we need somebody and you're available. What do you think? Now I do the work because I'm so devoted to the cause. I mean, our mission is to end human trafficking in our lifetime. It's to combat it and to end it in our lifetime. And I would love to be a part of that ending of human trafficking. So, like I said, 11 years in the field. Right now at the University of Toledo, I work a lot with youth. We're trying to identify if they have been trafficked or if they're at risk of trafficking. And then I work with both adults and youth who have been trafficked, and then we're getting them the services that they need. So I am very honored to do the work that I do every day because I know that we're reaching people and trying to make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing the work that you guys do. And so how exactly does Reach help support the human traffic survivors?
Yes, absolutely. So, Northern Ohio Reach is the local anti human trafficking coalition in Northwest Ohio. So, we're in the Toledo area. So, we serve in Ohio, it would be Lucas, Wood, Ottawa, Sandusky, and Seneca counties. There are probably 25 or more coalitions throughout Ohio. So, if you're in Ohio or wherever you live, please get connected to your local human trafficking coalition or task force. Volunteers are always needed, and the more people that are educated to identify red flags and indicators of human trafficking, the better our communities will be to help survivors, right? And what was the question? Look, I got so excited, I forgot.
No, that's okay. I was just curious how exactly Reach.
Oh, yes, how Reach. Yes, thank you so much. So, Reach doesn't provide direct services. So, your local coalition will not provide direct services in your community. But what your coalition will do is bring together all of the agencies in your community that can provide some type of service to human trafficking survivors. So in our case, Northern Ohio Reach, we meet the third Wednesday of every month, and it's either in person or via Zoom. If you're interested in checking out, it's northernohioreach.org. You can check it out with what we're doing.
I'll put
But
that in the show notes too.
yeah, we can share that with people. Thank you so much. But excuse me again, I'm so excited. Um, I'm telling Reach works with everyone in the community to let everybody know what services are available. We have educational speakers come in every month and tell us about their agency and what services they provide. We do have direct service providers in our community. They come in and tell us they're serving this many people. This is what they're seeing. We have always updates about our local conference that we hold in mid-September. It depends on January is just well, right now it's still January, is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So we talked about our activities and coordinating all that and what that would look like. So if you're interested in finding out more, like, well, what is my community doing? Find out who your local anti-human trafficking coalition is, and join them, and get involved if you can. That would be great. Ours is the third Wednesday of every month from 9:15 to 11 a.m. And like I said, if you're at work, some of them are via Zoom. Maybe you could click in and join us and see what we're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for giving those resources. And yeah, I'm
For
sure
sure.
we'll get more joiners off of that. And
Yes, I hope so. We would love that.
yeah, me too. That'd be awesome. And you guys also provide and which I want to have at the studio ASAP, which we'll talk. But you guys also provide like education sessions or seminars
Yes.
for
We
companies.
do. Yes, your local coalition, if you get engaged with them, or if you're just looking for some education around human trafficking, your local coalition will do that for you. We have the ability, we have an education committee that is a part of Reach. And so if you go to our website, you will see there's a section where you can request a speaker. So if your church group, your work, your professional friends, if you're in a civic group, if you're working with maybe at your church, you're part of a youth group or an adult group, you need to be educated about human trafficking. You might think that you know what it looks like, but remember, it's not just sex trafficking, it's labor trafficking, it's familial trafficking. There are other types of trafficking affecting people in our communities. So it's important for education. You can request an education session. You can donate to our emergency assistance fund, which is a fund that helps survivors with needs in their life that other funding sources in our community cannot help with. So, the things we've helped with in the last 3 years for clients, or I should say for survivors, would be rental deposits or past utility or phone bills, car repairs, plane tickets, medical services, hotel needs. So, it really is just a menagerie of different needs. We try to never say no, and if we don't aren't if we wouldn't have the ability to help pay for something, we are looking for maybe private donors or other entities to help cover things for survivors. So we can be at your outreach events too. If at your job, let's say you hold a health fair to inform people in your community or the population that you're serving about your services, please invite us. We would love to come and set up a table and provide, information about human trafficking, but also information about our programs that we offer that can provide people some help on their recovery journey and their healing journey.
Yeah, well, that transitions into the next
Yeah.
question beautifully, because I was getting ready to ask you, like, what are some of the biggest challenges that human trafficking survivors like? What are some of the biggest challenges they face in their healing journey?
You know what? Thank you for asking that question. It is almost hard to answer because, of course, every individual's experience is unique, right? But I would say overall, with the services that we provide at the University of Toledo, what we see is affordable housing. Remember, when a survivor asks for help or is able to get away from the trafficker, they come to us with nothing. no place to live, no food, no clothes, no income because they've been working for somebody else or made to work for somebody else. They have nothing. So for us, there are a lot of resources in Toledo. In our area, we are blessed with a community that has a plethora of services available. So there are food banks and there are places to get your basic needs met. But in our region, and I would say, I'm sure I can say this across Ohio, housing for human trafficking survivors is the biggest gap in services that we all experience.
Yeah. Wow,
Yes.
that's very interesting. I wouldn't have, I guess I wouldn't have thought it was housing because
Okay.
well, mainly because we do have so many, like you said, so much resources in Toledo, so many
We do.
resources, especially for housing specifically. And so, yeah, wow, that's very interesting. But I'm not surprised at the same time because,
Well,
like you said, they're coming out of, they're starting from the ground up, it sounds like, and it
absolutely.
yeah, and wow, what I mean, as a business owner, I know what it feels like to start from the ground up, just in that alone,
Yes.
let alone
Yes.
put on a pound on a bunch of trauma on me and whatever else.
Right. Well, I mean, if you think about it, thank you for your example because if you okay, so I'm a human trafficking survivor, and somehow I've gotten out of the game. Those are the words, the terms we would use. So I'm out of the game, and I come to the PATH program, which is at the University of Toledo, or I'm connected to another agency in town that provides social services, maybe a mental health agency. But I need so many things. One agency cannot fulfill all of my needs. The other thing is that I don't just need, like, I'm starting from ground zero. So I don't have an ID. I mean, we're talking ground zero. I don't have a social security card. I don't have an ID. If I'm a foreign born individual, I might not have my passport or any of my visa information. I don't know. I might not know my date of birth. There's a lot that has happened to me. I have experienced a lot of trauma in different forms. And one of those traumas comes with head trauma, is one of the most common and significant of survivors, is because they've been beat up, they've been thrown around. They're experiencing some major trauma in their lives physically, but also physiologically and mentally. And so they are starting from a place. I mean, when I say nothing, I mean uh, they have absolutely nothing to start with. And housing in our area, um, I mean, we do have good options in place, but the fact that often human trafficking survivors do not feel safe staying at a domestic violence shelter, although we work closely with that community, the domestic violence community, because obviously many human trafficking survivors have experienced domestic violence. I'm putting my hands together. They definitely intersect, right? Any kind of sexual violence or domestic violence, our survivors have definitely experienced that. But human trafficking survivors, when they come to us, their nervous systems are so dysregulated that they cannot take the stimulation, excuse me, of being at a shelter. So when I'm talking about housing, I am talking about either apartments or programs that would have individual rooms for human trafficking survivors or individual apartments. That would be the best for the amount of trauma that our human trafficking survivors have experienced.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Makes me tear up like hearing you talk about this. And um yeah, it's wild and crazy. And yeah, it brings me to a point of speechlessness because it's just like I I'm so like shooken by the fact that all of this just continues to happen in the world and so much
Yes.
trauma is really prevalent in the world and I'm in the field. Anyways, back to what I was saying, it baffles me and shakes me to my core, and especially like I'm in the healing community. I'm
Yes.
surrounded by people who make me feel safe. I'm surrounded by people who make me feel loved. who make me feel joyed every single day. This studio, the only reason it's so special is because those people are here. And I can't even imagine not being able to feel safe around anybody.
Yes.
And that's really baffling to me and really like eye-opening as well. And I can only imagine how hard it is and or would be to get over that trauma that it causes. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it takes a lot of work on the trafficking survivors part as well as the team that surrounds them to help them on their healing journey. Like I said, it isn't just one person. With some, if you have diabetes, you have a doctor maybe that works with you on just that, right? That's your issue and they can treat that. When you're a human trafficking survivor, there are so many different levels of abuse, of I can't, the word is escaping me right now, but it is so many levels of where people have disappointed you and have abused you. I mean, if we talk about familial trafficking, when I say those words, I'm talking about a mother who has trafficked her child to get drugs. And what I'm saying there is that someone is willing to pay the mother to have sex with the daughter so the mother can use the money and buy the drugs she's addicted to. Think about that level of trauma for that individual. Let's say they're 8 years old and your mother is the person who's supposed to protect you, love you, meet your basic needs, take care of you. Think about the confusion in that child's mind because they love their parent. But this is also the person who is abusing them. Although that wouldn't be the word the child would use, right? But that is exactly what's happening. And
yeah,
there have been mothers convicted in counties within Ohio for exactly that crime. So I think it's really important when people say, if you would, Eric, I'm going to use you as an example, like, oh my God, you don't do this every day like the work I do. So this is when you're hearing it, you're like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. Well, you know what I said in an interview a couple days ago was, please take that, whatever that is in your chest, that wow, or in your gut, wherever it might be for you, and please learn more about human trafficking. Encourage others in your circle to learn about the signs of human trafficking, because if you do, when you see something that is not right, you can call the National Human Trafficking Hotline and report what you're seeing and help someone. Please take your angst or whatever you want to call it and stand up. If you would, warrior pose, Erica, you've taught me. Stand in your warrior pose and think about, what can I do to help this person right now? Never, ever approach someone you think is being trafficked. Never approach them because you don't know where the trafficker is. You don't know who that might be, and you will put them and yourself in possible danger. So you will never approach them, but you will take a mental note of everything that you are seeing in that situation, from the color of the man's hair that is with her. Does he have any tattoos? How tall is he? Is he wearing boots? Is he wearing, tennis shoes? What are the distinctive features for the female that you think might be, being trafficked at that time? Those are the ways you can help. Get educated. Know what you're looking at. What are the red flags and the signs of human trafficking? Come to one of our meetings. Join us. We are a great group of people, and you will love the work, to hear about all the work that we're doing in our area. And if you don't have time for any of that, it happens. Don't feel guilty, but donate to us and help us do the work. Again, northernohioreach.org is your local anti-human trafficking coalition. Donate and help us do the work. If you want to report something you've seen, it's the National Human Trafficking Hotline. It's through the Polaris Project. You can also look them up. And that number is 1-888-373-7888. That's to report what you've seen that might look like trafficking, or if someone says, I need help, I don't know what's going on in my life, but I can't do this anymore, and you know it's human trafficking, give them that number. No one is ever going to say to you, I'm a human trafficking victim, please help me. It's never going to happen, because to them, maybe it's just the way their life is. Maybe this is what they've been taught. maybe they don't know this horrible atrocity because they've never experienced it before. So if you know the signs, you can say, call this 800 number. They can help you. So
Yeah,
education is so important in our community.
yeah, it absolutely is. It's so extremely important. And um, yeah, and like Amy said, I know I'm not the only one that's hearing this that has that gut feeling or that shock or just whatever has hit me. I know I'm
Yes,
not the only one. So please, yes, like she said, take that and use it. Channel that energy and use it for better and for good. And yeah, it's
absolutely.
yep, absolutely. So, but yeah, so with trauma, I like to think of trauma as, and what I've heard, a little phrase is big T trauma and little T trauma. And
Sure.
everybody's trauma is relevant. Everybody's trauma is, um, there's no comparison. There's nothing to compare. Whatever, just like you can't compare your life to somebody else's. It's your experience and it's how you perceive your experience. And I like the little T trauma is something that I have experienced and I'm in trauma therapy for it. And it's like it
Yes.
changed my life completely and totally. And it's like when you said that you might not know that these human trafficking survivors might not know that they're being abused.
Right.
They might not know that they're like that something's wrong or that they may know down to their core, but not enough to speak up, and they don't even have the means to speak up. They've never been
That's
taught.
right.
They don't know how to. They've never been educated, and like it's so imperative that we get this help because and bring them to places that will be safe for them. And I know it's steps, right? It's
Absolutely.
and there's so many steps, and honestly, um you know and every person's steps are different. And that being said, as a trauma informed yoga instructor, I really am passionate about all of this and helping with this in this way and more of the emotional mental side of things as well as physical, but and in any way I can, because not only I mean, we all have experienced trauma. No matter who you are in this world, we all have experienced trauma.
Yes.
That's why I say big T trauma, little T trauma. There is various forms of trauma, and we must acknowledge that. But also, I mean, I've seen people come through this studio and yoga and sound healing and whatever else, whatever other modalities that they've taken in this studio has helped them tremendously through their experience, through their life experiences. And even today, I just got done teaching yoga, and we all know what's going on in the world and right now. And it's 2025 for whoever listens to this in the future.
Yes.
And we know what's going on in the world and who's president, and we know like what's happening. And so today we focused on creating a safe space inside of our body. That was the intention for class today. It was
Yes.
all about creating a safe space inside our body, feeling our body as home, and then feeling the earth as home. And that's those little things alone, when you actually connect to them within a community and within yourself, are powerful, so life-changing, can be life-changing experiences, or they can plant seeds. They can also be like they can plant little seeds, and someone's like, wow, I felt a little bit safer in my body today. That was weird.
Mhm.
Even though that might not be their thought, it's just like it's like the body keeps the score, right? If you've heard, I'm sure
Yes.
you've heard of that book. And um it just knows, and it knows that, hey, this is something that I need. So it's just beautiful. And the healing process just opens up from there. And so yeah, any way that we can support at Pura Vida, I am happy and open to it. We did have a sound bath for supporting human trafficking survivors, and
Yes. It
yeah,
was wonderful.
that was amazing. So I'm very happy we could do that. And but yeah, Amy, I want to ask you,
Sure.
so what do you think are some of the ways that the survivors could benefit from yoga or sound healing?
I think that already some of our individuals that are in our PATH program, so they're on a recovery healing journey from being a human trafficking survivor. I think it's important that we talk about, we know that our continuum is they come to us as a victim and then a survivor and then a thriver. We stay with the people that we serve for at least 3 years to make sure they are able to make that progression forward. And we all know healing is not linear. So, of course, we can move along that continuum. Someone might, something might occur that triggers them maybe into a little backslide, but the goal is to make them able to have their own life and feel safe and feel like their own person, take back all of their autonomy and be who they want to be, not what someone else wants them to be. So our survivors benefit from being involved in yoga classes, no matter which part of their journey that they're on. I think that the PATH program that serves both youth and adults, I will say for adults right now is what I'm speaking about, because we don't have any specific classes for youth at this time, but we do have connections. We have a new connection with Erica, and then we have connections with other yogis, if you would, in our area that provide trauma informed yoga to all levels of survivor, victim, survivor, and thriver. So, I mean, the importance, I don't have any research to back it up, but what we have seen is that as someone is progressing in their journey with a mental health survivor and maybe some substance use disorder and getting some health care that they've never had before, and then they plug into some yoga for assistance with, their trauma recovery also, the um, the benefits and the things that we see happening to them as they are experiencing all of those things together. I don't want to say unfathomable, but it is just so beautiful to witness their journeys. And it isn't always we're happy and we're smiling and we're vibing. A lot of it is hard work. We're crying and they're crying and we're crying with them. And there's a lot of tough inside work happening. But to have the outlet for yoga and then for sound bath, I've also, if you can tell from the passion in my voice, experienced it in my own healing journey that I'm on for myself, is that it was just a beautiful added piece of another a piece of the puzzle of my healing journey. And I think we see that throughout with our clients.
Yeah, that's beautiful and beautifully said. Um, how do you think we can how do you think we can help create safer spaces like for survivors as a society, as a community, um, etc.?
What the human trafficking field has done on its own is that when we started, we were, a lot of us were called rescue and restore groups, rescue and restore. Well, we did what we were, it was with well intention, right? We wanted to rescue them and we wanted to restore them. Well, survivors told us they didn't like any of those words. I don't need you to rescue me. I'm a grown woman and I don't need you to restore anything because there's nothing wrong with me. What's wrong with you? They were very offended by that language. So, as I stated earlier on, we assist them in their healing journey and want them to lead the way, right? So, I forgot the question again because I got so excited about my answer.
I'm digging your answer because this is beautiful. And we talk about this in yoga, like you're already whole, you're already perfect as you are.
Yes, like they didn't need us to rescue them. So we did change our name just to talk about who we are as a group. So it's Northern Ohio Reach. It's not Rescue and Restore because they don't need that. What we've done is to bring them into the conversation. Like
Yeah.
this doesn't seem like a hard concept, but everybody that started work around the country was with all the professionals that provide services. And that's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
Except we weren't asking survivors what did they need? What language worked for them? What do they think about our campaign that we put together? Why weren't we asking them? Our field has grown a lot in the last I'm going to say 14 years, 15 years. And we too at Northern Ohio Reach, we have a survivor advisory council that we just started at the end of last year. And our goal is to work with them to help us better meet the needs of the people we're trying to serve. What a concept that you
Yeah,
would talk to the people you're trying to serve, right? Seems
right.
like a no-brainer, but that is not how our work started. So we're very proud to include them now in our meetings at all different levels to make sure that they are in on all of the outreach developed, all of the educational pieces, all of the policies that we fight for with state legislators, et cetera. So I think that's the best turn I have seen in the field is to include survivors in this work we're doing because they've been through it and can give us the best feedback.
That's amazing. And you just answered the question.
Oh, good.
The question was how do we create as a society and a community, how do we create safer spaces for the survivors? We
Yeah.
ask them.
We have to ask them because
Yeah.
I don't know. I try my best when I'm one on one with someone or in a group of survivors. I'm always deferring to them and, asking them, am I saying this the right way? Please tell me if I'm offending you. I'm trying to make you feel included. I'm not trying to single you out. I'm trying to make you feel part of the group
Yeah.
because you're the reason we're here. But yeah, absolutely to include survivors in the work that you're doing is of the utmost importance.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Um, so you're a long time steward of the studio.
I am.
Been with us for a long time, and we really love and
Yes.
appreciate her and all her support that she's given us. And she reached out to me about all of this because I started teaching trauma informed yoga, and then we did the sound bath together. And now I would just want to mention that I am more trauma informed now, and I love to teach trauma informed yoga. So anybody out there who is listening, who needs that service, please reach out to me
Yes.
at Pura Vida. You can find us on any social media online, Puravida. And also, I want to plug in my course here because I'm having
Yes.
an online trauma informed yoga course, and you can this is another way to become more educated on and more trauma informed in our world. You can get 25 CEU hours for this course, and it has modules. We're going to meet live on Zoom weekly. And this course, it's kind of suited to all learning styles, I think, because it has written lessons, there's video lessons, and then we have live Zoom calls as well, right on here on this platform. So I just want to plug that in really quick. And if you're interested in that, I'll put the link in the description to this show. Um, so yeah, that would be great. And it's tailored towards yoga teachers and yoga students, but honestly, anybody can take the course just to become more trauma informed. There's so much good information in there. It's packed with value as far as that goes. So I would love to have you if you're interested. Um, but yeah, it's just so important to approach yoga with sensitivity, and I'm very passionate about that. And that's why I've created this course. It's so important to approach like however you're teaching or whatever you're saying to your students, it's so important to approach it in a way that is inclusive and and of course, none of us are perfect, but we can educate ourselves. And this is how we've given you many ways to educate yourselves today if you are
Mm.
so inclined. Um, but yeah, I am just so happy that we've given people a way to learn more and get involved more, both
Yes.
in Reach and at Pura Vida. Um, and anything that we can do for you guys, just let us both know. Amy, I'm sure you're
Yes.
free, to take questions and or anything. So how can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to get in touch with me personally is my email address at the University of Toledo. So it would be my first name, AMY dot, my last name is Lagesse, LAGESSE and then it's at utoledo.edu. If you have any questions about anything I said or another question, if this led you to a question, please feel free to reach out. If you want information about the local Northern Ohio Reach meetings, it's Northern Ohio Reach, all one word, .org. And you can check that out. And then again, if you want to report something that you've seen that you think might be trafficking, or you come across someone that is a victim of human trafficking and needs some help, there's a national human trafficking hotline. It's 1-888-373-7888. Please, you can look all of that up online, Google us, any of that would get you to us as well.
Yes. And how can people find and support Reach again? Just
Yes, it would be northernohioreach.org. And if you go there, you can request an education session. You can request us to attend an outreach event you're having, put up a table to distribute information. Or if you just want to donate to our cause, we would love that as well. Go to our webpage and it's right there at the top, I believe on the right-hand side. Just hit the donate button. That would be wonderful.
yes, please do that. And if you want to
Yes.
more with me, the studio, and Pura Vida, you can reach me on Instagram at Pura Vida Wellness, on Facebook, Pura Vida Wellness Studio. You can reach us through online, puravitawellnessstudio.com. And just reach out to us. No matter what your question is, we'll be able to at least get you some sort of answer and hopefully help you out in your healing journey. So
Absolutely.
I am very happy. Thank you, Amy, for your time, for your insight, for your work that you do in this world. I'm so happy I got to meet you. I'm so
Thank you.
happy you're in my life. And yeah, this is such a beautiful journey. And I'm so happy that we got to share this conversation together. It's so important. It's so
Me too.
powerful. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I would love to come back again.
Yes, we will definitely get that set up.
All right.